The learning of fundamental motor skills contains three main components, namely the acquisition of the following.
Locomotive skills, moving the body from one place to another or propelling the body upwards. Example, running or jumping. Stability skills, performed with appreciable movement when moving from place to place. For example, balancing or stretching. Manipulative/objective control skills, involves the manipulation of an object, for example, catching or throwing.
For our skill, we'll be looking at the throw. This means to propel or cast in any way, especially to project or propel from the hand by a student, forward motion or straightening of the arm and wrist. The skill then becomes necessary movement for a specific sport and activities that the student may endeavour, such as cricket, netball, basketball and baseball.
So boys, tell me why it is fundamental to student learning and movement.
During the early primary school years, between prep and year 3, students must be given the opportunity to learn the essential motor skills upon which later learning is dependent. These fundamental motor skills are often displayed by children at play.
By developing this skill at a young age, students from this will then begin to develop the other necessary skills for a specific sport. The FMS proficiency developed in the primary school years has a significant impact on physical activity in adolescence and adulthood. There is an increased body of evidence that suggests that having these skills sets will contribute to their growth, development and health.
At what age should it be introduced and why?
The age in which the overarm throw should be introduced to students is when they are in year 1, roughly at 6 to 7 years of age. Once they begin to learn this skill, mastery of this skill is necessary for optimum development of higher level skills to occur.
Children do not naturally develop fundamental motor skills as they grow. Opportunities should be provided for these skills to be taught, practiced and encouraged. Having mastery of fundamental motor skills such as throwing, catching, running and jumping opens up a vast array of sport, leisure and recreation options for the individual.
What modifications of equipment are required to teach the fundamental motor skill to diverse learners?
Firstly, no equipment. This will allow the students to learn the fundamental movement required for the throw without having to throw an object. Secondly, beanbags. This will allow the student to begin the throwing phase without having to lose on-task time retrieving the ball.
Thirdly, the rhino ball. This soft ball will allow the students to have a grip on the ball and also slowly begin to learn how to stop the ball once it begins rolling. Keep in mind that you may lose on-task time. Finally, an actual ball. This is the final stage in which the throw will go to.
Describe the positioning of students and you as a teacher in teaching the skill.
Stand out in front of the class in plain view of all your students.
Get students to line up and face the wall if your environment allows you to.
Instruct your students to stand side on with legs shoulder width apart.
Using your non-throwing hand, point to the target directly in front of you. This is where you'll be intending to throw.
Using your throwing hand, position your hand up behind your ear with elbow bent.
Push through the motion with the ball to your front hand and release.
Once the object is released, make sure you follow through with your throwing arm to where your target is.
Standing side on, feet closer together. Point to target with non-throwing hand. Eyes on target. Bend throwing arm back behind your ear. Push throwing arm to pointing arm, turning your hips and follow through to your pocket. Ending with your back foot over your front leg. Then collecting the object once finished. A common error for the throw is students standing front on. Get the students to stand side on, pointing to the object and releasing with their dominant arm. A common error is students holding the ball when throwing it. hold the ball in the correct position. Here, the students are able to throw the ball with more power and better accuracy.
So when we give feedback to students, how can we improve their throw?
That was a good attempt this time, but if you adjust your body so you are side on to the target, you will be able to aim with your other hand.
And what about when we have to give it more power?
This time, bring the ball back behind your ear. This will help you get the power needed to project the ball.
For further information on the throw, go to activeforlife.com/throwing to see how we can teach the throw to children.
And for more information, go to Fundamental Motor Skills, a manual for classroom teachers, or follow the link below.